Go out the way just to help my position.
Out this world production.
Go out the way just to help my position. When I was broke, I just knew I would get it. That hate shit you want ain't no good for my spirit. It is what it is, I got tired of forgiving. Mouth full of ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old, my phone jumping this Wednesday. Knew I was special, just needed a listen. Lift up a latch and detaching the ceiling. Super Dushani, the motherfucking greatest. This my new rental, don't care, I drag racing. In your apartment, I'm popping the latest. Started finessing, so that's how we played it. Stepped envelopes, gotta write out my brothers. No competition, we shine with each other. So many nights had my mind in the gutter. Mama told me like, boy, keep it together. Link with a big booty freak, it's whatever. Bet like a ring, we ain't cutting, we wrestle. Call my connect, need a package of pressure. Mind on my money, you know how I'm stepping. Take your advice, but I really ain't need it. You in my presence, 1K, how you keep it? Act like a star so they don't treat me basic. Bills late, niggas start getting creative. Go out the way just to help my position. When I was broke, I just knew I would get it. That hate shit you want ain't no good for my spirit. It is what it is, I got tired of forgiving. Mouth full of ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old, my phone jumping this Wednesday. Knew I was special, just needed a listen. Lift up a latch and detaching the ceiling. Super Dushani, the motherfucking greatest. This my new rental, don't care, I drag racing. In your apartment, I'm popping the latest. Started finessing, so that's how we played it. I'm detaching the ceiling. I'm full of ghosts while it's shining and glisten. Talking my language, that's tired of forgiving. Ghost crackers smiling and glisten. Out with the old, my phone jumping this Wednesday. Go out the way. Open the distance. It's what it is, I got tired of forgiving. It is what it is, I get it in a minute. I'll call you back in a minute. Too busy chasing blue DMG. Why am I like that?
Roller coaster, wanna let it stop like that, and it's not that.
Flexing. All around the kid like why you keep asking the same question?
Grizzly going crazy, nigga.
Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking the same questions? I remember going to school, never had the latest shoes. You was raised to make it cool, I was raised to make a move. We was playing with different bags, so I kept getting shitted on. It was motivation, telling myself stay patient. Package touchdown, gotta relocate it. If that body got took down, guess it was donated. Plug ain't from round town, but we both native. Yeah, sliding with my body, I got a Joe waiting. Can't let these hoes spend the night, ain't got no home training. Heard your damn mixtape, gave it a low rating. Yeah, streets reply, I look right in a Mercedes. Creep at night, the city lights going brave. She popping it like that is meant for, can't be no road and extendo. Bitch, I put me in the friend zone till she see me in the end zone. Hoes calling from other zip code, trapping hard, I need a flip phone. It's the new pack, the last one, bingo. Coastal motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking same questions? Roller coaster motor at the stoplight, catch me at the finish line flexing. Following the kid like a spotlight, why you keep asking same questions? Stepping out cool, rock and roll my watch and shoes. They scream wave, ain't bring a pool. Mainstream thing discreet my moves. Jack hit me up like gotta leave round 2. Know what's going on, man, you need it come through.
Uncle DMG, what's goody?
What's up, nephew?
Come on, man. Come on, man. You already know what the game plan is, man. What we getting into tonight?
Man, you know it's a lot of noise being made about the movie Sinners, man, and so I done seen it 3 times now, and so I wanted to give my spin on it, because the first time I seen it, it was like it moved me. I that's the best way I could describe it. And then the second time I seen it, I was able to kind of examine some of the themes in it a little more intuitively. And I started looking at it from a Black existentialist perspective. And I started thinking about, man, this will make a good show and a good presentation, a good breakdown, just with some of the analogies and messages that I saw in the joint. So I was gonna do it on my channel, but I was thinking earlier today, man, this would be a good look to do it on nephew channel.
Most definitely. Now, you know, I appreciate you for even hitting me up, you know what I'm saying, and gracing the platform, you know what I'm saying. We definitely go, I think, Black existentialism, you know what I'm saying? Some of us can't pronounce it, but I think after the night, we're gonna have a better understanding.
For sure. And so hey, we can start whenever you're ready, man. Let me bring my presentation up and get this thing popping. But okay, yeah, I got it.
Your day going all right, huh? Your day going all right?
Yeah, everything going smooth, man. You know how it be. I'm grinding, you know, with I got my hand in a few things, man. The 9 to 5, couple of businesses. So, you know, we just trying to get to this bag.
Staying focused.
There it is. But yeah, now I'm not sure how to share my screen. You know, I ain't familiar with Restream. So
it should be 3 dots. You see the 3 dots? It should be by your microphone.
Okay, you said 3 dots. I don't see 3 dots. I see the plus sign. I don't know if that's.
Let me see.
Okay, let's say presentations, share. Okay, share screen. Let's see. All right, I got it. All right.
Hey, everybody, like, share, and subscribe to the show. Y'all subscribe to also Paradigm Shift and Uncle DMG about to put on a great presentation. You know, the motto over here, we learn every day.
No doubt. Matter of fact, let me share it to a couple of back chats before we get this thing going. Shout out to my sister Juju in the building.
All right, Juju.
Yeah, you know, we got some nefarious forces at work trying to do some divide and conquer schemes, man, trying to whisper in the ears of our people, but we ain't gonna let it happen, you know what I mean? So we're gonna figure that thing out. But yeah, man, I think once people start to get more acquainted with Black existentialism as a philosophy, I think the less there'll be, I guess, what's the word? The less ignorant they'll be to it. Because I think because you have some people who don't know what it means, who don't know what it stands for, who don't know what it's composed of, or anything to that effect. Speaking about it, you got a lot of people who don't even know, you know, where it's coming from, what it stands for. So we're gonna talk about that briefly when we get into this thing. But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate this because it's another opportunity to kind of show people what this philosophy really is. But we can get right into it, little bro. So this is Centers, a Black Existentialist Analysis by yours truly, your brother DMG. And y'all vibe with me for a second. So Centers, a Black Existentialist Analysis, Race, Culture, and the Vampiric Nature of Appropriation in Coogler's Southern Gothic Horror, presented by yours truly, the infamous DMG. This is the intro. What is Black existentialism? And here's the definition. Black existentialism explores the lived Black experience through the philosophical lenses of freedom, identity, and authenticity in an anti-Black world. Influences or thinkers like Franz Fanon, James Baldwin, and Lewis R. Gordon. Centers is a poetic horror story that manifests existential dread, cultural theft, and the search for spiritual wholeness. And again, Centers is a movie directed by Ryan Coogler, released this year. It's set in 1930s Mississippi, a region heavy with racial trauma. It follows twin brothers Smoke and Stack and their cousin Sammy, who become entangled with vampires who symbolize more than just monsters. It fuses Southern Gothic horror with African American history and mythology. The existential dread of the other. The Black characters in Centers exist under the constant gaze of the white power structure. The vampires represent white supremacy as unnatural, parasitic, and immortalized through domination, through domination, I should say. Just like Fanon's colonized subject, the Black characters must navigate life within a system that denies their humanity. Vampirism as a metaphor for racial oppression. Vampires and Centers are not just monsters. They are metaphors for whiteness that feeds on Black culture, labor, and life force. These creatures drink blood like American capitalism drinks Black sweat, eternally unsatisfied. The feeding symbolizes centuries of exploitation from slavery to modern day cultural theft. The juke joint as a sacred space. The juke joint built by Smoke and Stack symbolizes Black resistance and cultural autonomy, a place where music, joy, and pain coexist, echoing the Black existential notion of creating meaning in suffering. It stands in contrast to the vampire's domain, which is cold, parasitic, and void of soul. African spirituality versus Christian doctrine. The characters call upon hoodoo, African cosmology, and ancestral wisdom to fight the vampires. Christianity in the film is often used to control or mislead. This juxtaposition echoes how enslaved Africans had to reframe their spirituality under Christian colonization. The film's church scenes depict Christianity demonizing African practices. A scene where a preacher calls ancestral veneration witchcraft mirrors real-life historical suppression. African spirituality, i.e. Ifa, Vodun, etc., is presented beautifully, with ceremonies showing deep reverence and healing. Centers celebrates reconnection to roots rather than submission to imposed dogma. European Christianity's demonization of African beliefs. Christianity was weaponized during slavery to break African identity. Original practices were called devil worship to justify control. In centers, the redemption often offered by the dominant religion is really a submission to colonized thinking. The film's protagonists reclaim their spiritual power by embracing, not rejecting, their heritage. African spirituality celebrated. Vibrant scenes show dance, drums, offerings, and spirit possession as sources of strength. Ancestor worship and nature reverence are central. Rituals are represented as life-affirming, healing, and beautiful, not savage or primitive. Kugler challenges viewers to see African spiritualities as intellectual, emotional, and metaphysical excellence. The scene where Remick repeatedly dunks Sammy in the river while reciting Bible verses is deeply symbolic. Remick, driven by a twisted sense of religious duty, believes he is cleansing Sammy of sin through violent baptism. The river, traditionally a symbol of purification and rebirth, becomes instead an instrument of domination and dehumanization. From a Black existentialist perspective, several layers emerge. Existential freedom versus religious oppression. Sammy's individual existence and agency are stripped away under the guise of spiritual salvation. Black existentialism stresses the existence precedes essence, that identity and value are self-created, not imposed. Remick represents an oppressive system that forces meaning onto Sammy rather than allowing him to define himself. Bad faith and hypocrisy. Remick acts in bad faith, weaponizing faith to exert control rather than encouraging genuine spiritual awakening. In Black existentialist thought, especially informed by thinkers like James Baldwin and Frantz Fanon, such hypocrisy is seen as a means by which oppressed people are kept psychologically bound. The river as a symbol of struggle. For Black people, historically, rivers symbolize both liberation and death, literally crossing rivers to escape slavery or drowning in them. Sammy's struggle in the water becomes a metaphor for the Black struggle for authentic existence in a world that constantly tries to drown individuality under the myths of righteousness, whiteness, or salvation. Alienation and dehumanization. Sammy's terror and helplessness show how institutions, even those claiming moral authority, can alienate the individual from his own body and spirit. Black existentialism highlights the profound loneliness and isolation of realizing one's existence as viewed as a problem to be fixed by others. In short, the scene critiques how religious zeal, when corrupted by power and fear, mirrors the broader existential crisis of Black people struggling for selfhood in an oppressive world. Sammy is a vessel of cultural genius. Sammy's musical gift is rooted in divine ancestry and generational trauma. He becomes the target of both vampires and society, paralleling how gifted Black artists are exploited. His character echoes Robert Johnson, the legendary bluesman who, quote unquote, sold his soul, a metaphor for survival under white gaze. The Crossroads, a site of Black duality. The Crossroads myths plays a crucial role in Sinners, referencing the unseen space between life and death, Black and white, power and powerlessness. It symbolizes the impossible choices Black people are forced to make, freedom at the price of the soul, or safety at the price of silence. Appropriation of Black music and spirit. Vampires want Sammy's sound, but not his suffering, mirroring how America wants Black culture, but not Black people. This echoes how Elvis Presley, Eminem, and others became icons by borrowing from Black musical traditions. The film critiques this theft as a form of cultural vampirism. Existential resistance and rebirth. Smoke, Stack, and Sammy's journey is about reclaiming agency. They aren't saved by external forces. They save themselves through courage, memory, music, and African-rooted wisdom. This reflects existential authenticity, creating freedom and meaning in the face of absurdity and terror. Gender, ancestry, and matriarchal spirit. Women in Sinners are powerful mothers, griots, and spiritual guides. Their presence emphasizes African matriarchal lineage and the sacred role of women in Black resistance. The ancestral connection is essential. It reminds us that survival is not just personal, but generational. The final confrontation, symbolism of fire and sun. The vampires are destroyed not just by light, but the truth, the legacy of Black resistance. Fire symbolizes purification and revolution. The ending shows that the true death for oppression is when the oppressed remember who they are. What Sinners teaches us. Sinners is a Black existentialist horror that exposes the true monstrosity of racism and cultural theft. Coogler reclaims horror, music, and myth to center Black agency. In a world that feeds off Black genius, Sinners dares to ask, what if the sun rose on us instead? Sinners as a mantra. Sinners is not just a movie, it's a call to reclaim stolen identity and suppressed spirit. Coogler crafts a Black existentialist epic. We exist, we create, we resist, we heal, we are. Conclusion, our right to be. Sinners is more than a film, it's a hymn to the stubborn miracle of Black existence, a reminder that we are never the cursed. We were never the cursed, I should say. We were always the creators, the dreamers, the blessed. We are not mere sinners. We are the source. We are the song. We are the children of the light. Final quote, I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. Audre Lorde. And you can see my references. I encourage everybody to pause this page so you can see who my references were, the different books. These are existential authors, Black existential authors, cultural appropriation of music. We look at different books on our music and how it's been appropriated by these different groups. And then finally, religion, hoodoo, and African spirituality. We get into that. So again, I will pause these pages, look that stuff up, and that is where I will conclude, family. I'm not sure how to end my share, but
I'll take it off for you, man. Let me say this, man. I dropped the link if anybody want to come on. Anybody got any questions or want to give Uncle DMG his flowers? Man, let me be the first to say, man, that shit was powerful. I ain't even watched the movie. And I'm thinking, while you presenting this, I'm like, man, that movie can't be this good, man. I think I'm adding a little 2 on. He adding a 2 to the 10 or something like the movie that good is really got them symbols in it.
Hey, that's what I got, bro. Now I can't say what you would get. I can't say what my man Classic Craig would get, or my sister Juju, or my man, my undisputed, undefeated champion Pan, or Dr. Too Sweet. I can't say what my man Michael Everett might get. I'm just saying what DMG got. But that's what I got out of it. But again, I try to look at things with a black existential lens. So
right. Yeah, that was powerful. Shout out to Uncle Shaka. All right, we got a question from Tiger Hunter. He says, what do you think about the parallels between the Irish vampire that admitted to being a slave?
I thought that was a nice touch, because I think that we often forget that we're not the only people who were enslaved and who the Bible was weaponized against. Because he mentioned, if you remember that scene, he mentioned when Sammy started praying, he said, the men who took my fatherland recited that same verse. It still gives me comfort. I hated those men, but those words still bring me comfort. So yeah, we would, up until around the 1500s, when it was still colonies here, the Irish and the Italians was treated just like we was. But after Bacon's Rebellion, after John Punch, they drew a line in the sand in this caste system in America, and we ended up at the bottom. And the Irish and the Italians was brought into whiteness.
Okay. Aunt Juju said that's good. Aunt Juju said I like that. My boy Tiger Hunter say it's that good. Aunt Juju say it's exceptional. Definitely go check out the movie, man. Now I might gotta go watch it. How many times you said you watched it, Uncle DMG?
I done seen it 3 times, man. I seen it with the family, the whole family, my wife, kids, and my niece. Then I seen it with just me and my son. And then I seen it by myself.
Oh man, it gotta be that powerful then. You ain't go waste your time if it ain't that powerful. Slave to race.
Yeah.
Irish were never enslaved.
I wouldn't say they was enslaved. They was definitely oppressed, but not enslaved. They sold themselves into indenturement, but not into slavery.
All right, hold on. I think Aunt Juju. All right, hold on. Aunt Juju say she about to go back and watch Sinners tomorrow. Nah, but I be hearing a lot of white people saying the Irish were enslaved. So Aunt Juju say the Irish were never enslaved. Hey, Aunt Juju, maybe we need some more information on that, because white people like to point to that and say that they was enslaved. When he said,
well, a lot of people like replace oppression with slavery for some reason. And I think it's clear that the Irish and the Scots were oppressed by Europeans, particularly the English. But slavery, and especially when you talk about chattel slavery, the way our ancestors experienced it, nah. Now they sold themselves into indentured servitude, but that's something that you do to yourself. So that's a different thing. But they definitely were oppressed by the English.
all right. So in the movie, is all white people vampires, or is just certain white people?
No, it's just certain white people. But you do have the Klan. You do have the Klan in there, and it's, bro, I don't want to spoil it for you. You got to see it. You got to go see it. And if you got the Fire Stick, you know what I mean. You ain't got to go to the movies. So
See,
yeah.
I'm thinking you going to the movies 3 different times.
I know. I went to the movies twice.
Okay.
And then I sat up at the crib. We got a little projector set up, so everybody had burnt out. I was like, man, pour this Cavassier, like something, and watch this by myself. You know what I mean?
My boy Bantu say the movie was fire. Oh yeah, man. Now I gotta go check it out, man. My boy Bantu say it was fire. So Michael B. Jordan, man, you think he need an Oscar?
I think the boy deserve an Oscar, man. Like it is, you know that these are twin brothers, but their personalities are completely different. You got one personality that's stoic and very much about business, very much skeptical of spirituality and things of that nature. And then you got another brother that's completely wild, completely free, but also about his business, but just two contrasting personalities. And it's like he played two different people. If you ain't know no better, like if you ain't know who Michael B. Jordan was, you would think it's two brothers playing those parts. That's how good he was.
Okay. Yeah, man, we definitely gotta go check that out. Y'all go check that out. Got Classic Craig peeking in the bushes. Classic Craig, man, I know you on your 3rd jersey right now, Classic.
Right. Yeah, he changed at least twice during the presentation.
Come on now. Bantu say left and right side brain. You know what he talking about?
Yeah, when you look at the twins, one is wearing red, one is wearing blue. So it's like Ryan Coogler even hit on that a bit, because I'm looking at it at first and I'm just like, man, what's behind them one wearing red and one wearing blue? But you can see one is kind of cold, calculated. The other one is fiery, impulsive. You know what I mean? And like the brother said, you got that concept of those two sides of the brain, and he played that out. And I believe in an interview, somebody told me in an interview, I told them to send it to me, but they haven't yet, that he said something about he was playing off of Shango and Ogun from the Orishas. So, but I didn't know that I thought red might represent Shango, but Juju said the symbolism was twins in West Africa. So, and somebody said it was Shango and Ogun, but they not twins. So, but apparently they colors match up with the twins. So, but yeah, Ryan Coogler he ain't playing around, man. He not playing around.
I definitely got to go check that out then, man. So when you was talking about the white church or Christianity, the Christian church demonizing African spirituality, how you think it was something that you think he was basically getting the point that the whole world is seeing, or you think he was like experimenting?
No, I think he hitting on something that we go through as a people all the time. Like like personal story. My mother-in-law, when she went to see it, she felt away because this is a woman who grew up in the church, her whole life. And as an older person, a woman of a certain age, now you look at her, mother-in-law, most of these young bucks in here probably be trying to give my mother-in-law that smoke, but she is a woman of a certain age. And she felt a way about the symbolism in the movie. The sister using hoodoo from a spiritual standpoint, because, you got a couple of aspects to hoodoo. Like, my grandmother made black eyed peas on New Year's Day. That's hoodoo. Don't split a pole. That's hoodoo. But you also have a spiritual element to hoodoo. And that's what they got into in this movie. And that's uncomfortable for Black people because we had it beat into us that was witchcraft, that was demonic, etc. Even though we brought practical aspects of hoodoo into our particular brand of Christianity without even realizing it. Like you look at certain stuff that we do in church versus what, for lack of a better term, they do in church. And it's straight out of West Africa. But we unconscious of it because as time go on, you just get in the habit of doing something. You kind of forget where it came from unless you educated in that or your family then kind of held on to it and handed it down. So when they tell you it's demonic, you buy into it. So Vodun, demonic. The Orishas, demonic. The Yoruba tradition, demonic. Kulu Kulu and the Zulu, demonic, because they said so. But the reality is, this is our stuff. And I hate when we say our stuff is demonic, but we accept they stuff. It gets under my skin. So, but we also gotta acknowledge that because of Europeanism, white supremacy, etc., our people don't know no better. So it's the job of people like me and you, like Sister Juju, to educate our people and let them know, hey, nah, just because they say it's bad don't mean it's bad. This our stuff. But sometimes you older, you stuck in your ways. But this younger generation, the more knowledge they get, the more educated they is, they starting to realize, nah, you ain't finna tell me my stuff bad. So, and I think that's dope.
Yeah, man. I think I remember when I was probably about like 12, 13 years old, and me and my friend, his grandma, and a couple of family members, like from church, we all went to go see Passion of Christ. And when they was beating on Passion of Christ, my friend grandma walked out of the movie theater. You know what I'm saying? Like on some and she walked to the car like she couldn't take in them beating on Jesus like that in the movie. So when I hear, you know what I'm saying, what you said about your mother-in-law, you say your mother-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of made me think like if like my grandma or one of our aunts or something go see that movie, like we so drenched into white spirituality that seeing that is, like you said, witchcraft, but not just that, is frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? It's culturally frowned upon over here. So it's more so like that's like a whole full circle moment. I was wondering, was that intentional? Was he doing it intentional, or he was freestyling? But you say it definitely was some symbolism.
Yeah, he definitely did it intentionally. It's a scene in the movie. Like, so at the beginning of the movie, you hear this sister's voice, and she say, it's legends that say there are people who are so talented with music that they can conjure the spirits of they loved ones and of their ancestors, etc. And I'm paraphrasing, right? And so she talk about what they, the Indians called them this, and these people call them this. In Africa, they were called griots. And then we get into the movie, and you see this musician, and when he start playing in the juke joint, it stirs things up. And when you see the movie, you're gonna know exactly what scene this is, because it literally melds the past, present, and future from a spiritual standpoint. And that's the scene that a lot of our older Christian brothers and sisters are uncomfortable with. Some of our younger Christians and brothers and sisters who are like really, what's the best word I could say? Stigmatized against African spiritual concepts. They probably uncomfortable with it too. But if you're comfortable with your African heritage, it had me hyped. So I was like, okay. And like we just, a lot of us just don't really know or understand our history, bro. It's like when we talk about vaccines, right? And like it was a shaman in the village who figured out when smallpox was spreading in these villages, all right, if you take the pus and you cut the arm or you cut the wound and you put the pus from the smallpox under there, you can inoculate the brother or the sister from this disease. So when we got over here, these Europeans is dying from smallpox. And so they wouldn't get it. They send the slaves in there to deal with it because they don't want to touch these bodies of these people who got smallpox, right? And they trying to figure out why these slaves ain't getting sick. And I believe the brother's name was Onesimus. If you look him up, he one of the most famous people in Boston history, along with the bastard that owned him and never set him free, by the way. But he taught this bastard how to inoculate based on what he knew from Africa, because we was doing that before they was. So, but it was a healer, a shaman, a quote unquote witch doctor that was doing that. So again, when they try to say our stuff evil, like, man, miss me with that. Like, if it wasn't for our evil stuff, y'all would have continued to die from these diseases. But again, if you don't know your history, and that's why Sister Juju and folks who study that end of things from a scientific standpoint are so important, because like we miss a lot of that, and then we can bring it back around to the spiritual side. Whether you believe in a spirit or anything like that, you ain't got to. I'm simply saying the concept of a spiritual situation, we can bring that back around from a medicinal standpoint and look at it from that angle and understand, if our stuff was so evil, why did you use it for this concept or for that concept? But the only reason they said it was evil was because they wanted to Europeanize our ancestors. They wanted them to forget about being African and wanted them to assimilate to European culture.
So what about when people say not necessarily evil, but what about when people say African healers are pseudo? How you feel about that?
Well, it depends on what aspect you're talking about. I mean, we do have some quote unquote African healers today who are like, you know, I had a brother tell me recently, you know, I thought I was having some heart issues. It turned out that wasn't the case. And listen, family, always get a second and third opinion, because just because you go to the emergency room or somewhere like that and they tell you that they think it's this, it may, just because you're exhibiting those type of symptoms, it may or may not be that. Go to your primary care physician. If you don't have one, get one, and follow up with a specialist, because they might tell you something is one thing and it be a whole other thing, and it could be something that's completely minor. Case in point, I was told they thought I had congestive heart failure. Turned out a brother was stressed and basically exhausted. Ran me through the motions of things that you shouldn't be able to do when you have that condition, and I did all of them. I was tired, but I had all of them. I mean, I was able to complete all of them, and he just told me, if you had congestive heart failure, it ain't no way you would have been able to do all this, but we still got to do the scans and do all of that. Got the I still haven't went back for the follow-up appointment, but it pop up in the app. I'm looking at the test results. I'm good. I still gotta figure out a schedule. Like I told my nephew at the beginning of the show, I've been kind of burning at both ends, so I gotta figure out a schedule that works so I ain't exhausted. But they, always get a second and sometimes third opinion. That's just a sidebar. But in the midst of that, I had somebody tell me that if I took a detox, my heart would be healed. Now, bro, I'm just something making me have a bowel movement, healing my heart. I need somebody to make that make sense. But my man was earnest in telling me that. And I legit don't think he meant no harm. But I'm not like, hey, I'm finna get my heart checked out. I ain't taking I'm gonna take a detox because I need to go. I ain't taking it for my heart. You hear me? But that's what my man really was like, if you take this detox, man, you're gonna be throwing up and it's gonna be coming out the other end and you're gonna be good. For a potential heart issue.
Right. Hey, Uncle DMG, this what I was getting to. Okay, so we obviously had our own spiritual system in Africa before coming over here, right? We obviously knew how to do science before we even seen a white person. Before we even got on a boat or off the boat, we knew how to. We had people that was healers. We had people that knew what the fuck to do. So I'm saying, the same way you can look at that movie and we could understand that African spirituality has been demonized, can we look at African science or African knowledge, and can we look at that as in the same light? Are we choosing white knowledge over African knowledge, or are we downplaying it when we hear stuff like a healer? When we hear stuff like this?
Well, I think that the first thing we got to do is understand that science, knowledge, math, these things don't have a color. They don't have a race. They don't have a place on the map, so to speak. So that's first and foremost. Knowledge is knowledge. I do think that you make a good point in that there is some knowledge that we had before we came into contact with clear people that clear people took credit for. That's without a doubt. And I think in taking credit for it, they suppressed that they got it from us. I think that's 100%. I also think that they downplay certain things that can be beneficial from a healing standpoint, because it ain't no money in a cure. The money is in keeping you sick. So I'll give you a prime example. A few years back, I go to the doctor for something, and she telling me I got an issue. Now, this doctor was East Indian, dot and everything. And she telling me I got an issue. She can give me some medication, but the medication may hinder my libido. Now, if you know your unc, no bueno. I'm not so I'm like, hey, you gotta have something else, because right. I'm just letting you know off tops, I ain't taking that. She literally tells me, you can take this herb, and she prefaced it with this. Professionally, this is what I have for you, the thing that would affect my libido. But from a non-professional standpoint, off the books, I can recommend this herb and this herb together, and it'll have the same effect, but it'll be a longer process. And it blew my mind because I'm like, why is you telling me about the other thing that would mess up my libido? Because she even added that these two things could help enhance my libido. Why didn't you start there? But again, from a professional standpoint, she couldn't even recommend it. And it was something I could just go get off of Amazon. You feel me? So I do think it's certain things that they do suppress that we've been doing as African people, indigenous people, period, forever. But again, Big Pharma ain't paying them for that. And so, you know, if you deal with diabetes and you don't want to take insulin, or you got an aversion to the insulin thing, berberine. I know this for a fact. Berberine can get you the same results. Now, do that mean you shouldn't go to the doctor and still have your stuff monitored? You shouldn't check your sugar and all of that? That's not what that means. But berberine can help you get to where you need to be as it relates to your sugar, etc. So again, it's definitely some things that we had in place from a natural standpoint that they don't want us to acknowledge.
All right, so Tiger Hunter says, I think herbal medicine is something we should practice more of. How you feel about that?
Well, I think it just depends on what the situation is you're dealing with. I think you can. It's not necessarily a situation where we should practice more of it. It's just a situation where you should practice it, period. You should get you a legit herbalist who know what herbs can be taken in conjunction with one another and what they help enhance, what they don't help enhance. And if that regimen worked for you, take them. That don't mean that you should ignore, quote unquote, modern medicine and ignore certain things because you're taking herbs. That's not what that means. But it's not going to hurt you to take herbs as long as you're taking them with a specific situation in mind, or understanding what it could be beneficial to and what it wouldn't be beneficial to.
Okay, Juju say Africans let herbs for inoculation. Herbs are very common things. All right. So before we for the people in the back, can you pronounce Black existentialism for the people in the back?
Yeah, if you talk like you got marbles in your mouth, then this really ain't for you. You know what I mean? So just FYI, if your name is Marble Mouth Molly, this ain't for you. I need you to say it. I need you to enunciate it. You dig? And if you can't do it, don't come up here trying to talk to me.
All right. And Uncle DMG, can you give us the definition for Black existentialism one more time?
Indeed, I can. So you want me to give you the book definition or my personal definition?
You can give me your personal definition.
So Black existentialism explores.
Uncle DMG, you know everybody gonna hold you by your words.
No doubt. Black existentialism explores the lived Black experience through the philosophical lens of freedom, identity, and authenticity in an anti-Black world. Thinkers like Franz Fanon, James Baldwin, and Lewis R. Gordon, amongst others, are where we get our influences with regards to this particular philosophy. So,
and you can tell me if I'm off base, from my understanding, Black existentialism is how we rock in where we at right now. So as far as the barbecues, the shrimp and grits, the Lil Wayne face tattoos, the culture, rap music, the black quarterbacks, the new jewelry sets. We got them creating whole new jewelry sets. The shoes, the how we make everything style, the culture. Is that Black existentialism?
It's part of it. It's part of it. So the root word for existentialism is existence. So Black existentialism is about Black existence, but it's about Black existence in an anti-Black world and how we navigate that. So everything Black is encompassed within that Black existentialist frame. My mentor, Amari Seneferu, had a saying, and it sums up Black existentialism perfectly to me. He says, you African have the power to intercede on behalf of yourself, because regardless of whatever religion you follow, whatever political party you align yourself with, whatever your personal ideology is, you and I, the Black individual and the Black collective, if we are to push ourselves forward in power, we have to know that we got to do it. We can't wait for a political party to save us. We can't wait for a God to save us. We can't wait for other people to come in and intervene for us. We have to do it. Period.
Y'all heard that. Y'all heard that. All right. So in the movie with the playing the music and invoking spirits, I know we got these 808s in our rap music, Chicago drill music. You know what I'm saying? Instantly, man. You say a couple crazy words, it put you in that mode to want to go catch a body and go do a job out, hang out a window or something. So, do you think that with some of the beats we be hearing, some of the beat frequencies, on top of that, saying, I got a brand new Draco, I'm about to hit, better lay low. You know what I'm saying? Saying a couple of words like that, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that right there invoke demon spirits or bad spirits in our brain cells? You think they got something to do with that?
Well, I mean, I think words have power. So otherwise, people wouldn't both swear by and like deny profoundly the Bible.
Uncle DMG, words hold power, but we talking about on a trap beat.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So walk with me, nephew. So words themselves have power, whether you're reading them, whether you're listening to them, right? Music itself is a powerful tool for inspiration, for motivation, etc. So now you combine these things. And so you got a fire beat and some fire lyrics. So music can stir you up to where you want to make love or make war. You dig? So whether it's conjuring up a spirit, whether it's a spiritual thing, or whether it's an emotional thing, either way it go, we know that words, music, and poems, etc., have power. And so it's no doubt in my mind that, like, don't nothing get me in my body in one way or another like Me Against the World. The whole album, from If I Die Tonight to Outlaw. Don't nothing stir me up like that album from a particular standpoint. And on another note, don't nothing stir me up like Marvin Gaye album, What's Going On. So it just depends on what headspace the infamous DMG in. So obviously, you can look at it from a spiritual standpoint, an analytical standpoint, a logical standpoint. Words definitely hold power, and they got the music has power, and it can move you in a particular direction depending on what that music is.
There we go. All right. So when we talk about and this will have to be a whole show and more understanding to go into these topics. When we talk about like a African elder, or they say a Baba, we talk about an African elder. Do you think these guys are more knowledgeable than a PhD European?
The gods, or
no, the African elder, an African spiritual elder. Do you think these guys are more knowledgeable about life than a PhD European?
About life? Yeah, and from a particular aspect. So in terms of the path I have to walk as a Black man in America, it might, in the neighborhood that I grew up in, it might be a crackhead on the corner that could tell me more about life than a European PhD. I'm just keeping it a bean. Right. Like, what can a PhD, a European with a PhD, tell DMG about life and the path I gotta walk and how I gotta tell my son to navigate in life? Now, if we're talking about education in his or her particular field, we can have a conversation about how to go about going into that lane. But in terms of life, yeah, I could easily see how that African elder could tell me more about life than a European with a PhD.
All right, let's say we get 10 of the most knowledgeable African elders from 10 villages in West Africa. Let's say we get 10 of them, and we get 10 science PhD Europeans, and we put them in the room against them. And the discussion is science. Who you think will be more smarter? The 10 African elders, most knowledgeable elders from West Africa, that ain't go to no European college. They ain't go to no European college. All these 10 PhD'd up Europeans. If discussion was science, who would you put your money on?
And these European PhDs are scientists?
Yes.
And the elders not scientists.
They well-rounded. So the elders they don't have one particular study. They be well-rounded on every goddamn thing.
Right. But this is these Europeans' chosen field, but the elders are well-rounded in various aspects and studies.
Right.
Well, I mean, if the subject is science, the scientists got it. Like, that's just what it is. Like we ain't finna get up here and try to make this our elders no more than people in these actual fields, bro. Like, look, we not finna. This ain't blackology. This like we dealing with the real up here. You know what I mean?
Right. So
shout out to the elders though, but we can't get up here and lie to the folks. This ain't Naruto or Dragon Ball Z.
Right. So I think what be the biggest question to somebody that would try to go in depth on that topic is, where do the elders get their information if they not learning from the white people? How would you explain that?
Well, again, I'm a stress that we got to learn to stop putting color on knowledge. Like knowledge ain't got no color. It ain't got no loyalty to black or white. Knowledge is only loyal to whoever learned it. So that's one thing. And there are particular aspects of knowledge that we know in the past have leaned more to a particular lens, but it's 2025 now. And so we sophisticated enough to understand that we passed the point where they can skew things in their favor. Like they gotta reconcile with the fact that the Tuskegee Airmen was outflying the clear Airmen. Like it ain't no like this is just what it is. So from when we talk about knowledge ain't got no allegiance to me and you because we black. It ain't got no allegiance to Jeff and Blake because they white. Knowledge is knowledge. So it's about who know it and who got access to it. So once we gain that knowledge, then we on an even playing field. So that's all it is to that. So
hey, now Uncle DMG, I was speaking on okay, so like the analogy I used, 10 Africans that didn't go to a European university versus 10 PhD'd up Europeans. Now I'm saying if we go deep into that conversation, and my question would be, where is these 10 African elders getting their information from if they didn't go to when I say a European university or I mean when I say a white school or something like that, I'm just specifically saying not going out of Africa to get their information. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying there you go.
What I mean, the truth is they could have went to the University of Ghana, which is a well-respected university. Shout out to Dr. Obadeli Cambone. So, what if they went there? So it just depends on the situation. Now, if we saying that they have no college and they having a conversation with scientists about science, like I said, I stand by the scientists gonna know more. But what if they having a conversation about philosophy? I would argue that a village elder who never went to a university could still have a good back and forth conversation on philosophy with any philosopher with a PhD. So it just depends on the subject matter. If it's about history, depending on how steeped in history that village elder is and how much he know his people history. If that so-called PhD in history is talking to him about his people and the history of his people, I think he could cook that particular person because he lived it. So it just depends on the subject matter.
Got you. So do you think if the 10 African elders was to sit down with 10 PhD'd up Europeans, you think the the topic was science, you think the African elders science would be outdated to going against them?
It could be. If they coming from a village that's that's still going to how you have some villages that's just underprivileged. They going to these different places to get water that's not being filtered and things of that nature. If it's a village that's living in a third world state, then yeah, they probably behind the curve. But if it's a situation where they up to date and they just choose to still live in a particular way that's conducive to the way their ancestors did, but they up to date on they reading and they technology and they got irrigation centers and things of that nature. Brother here named Quafer got several irrigation systems that he done built over in the motherland. And these, like you talk to these people bro, they doctors, lawyers. Now, when you go to the village, they dressed like it's back when our ancestors was there, but they doctors, lawyers, etc. So it just depends. And I feel like if they run up on one of them, that PhD gonna be in for a powerful conversation. Because even though they present themselves in a way that the average person may think they coming from a primitive mindset, they sharp. So it just depends.
Gotcha. Man, when I look at Ghana Empire, when I look up Mali Empire, when you look up Egypt, they didn't necessarily need a European for science, technology, and math. So when I hear people say that when I hear we conforming to European universities and we conforming to European certificates and degrees, my question is, where did the knowledge break out? So like this is basically what I'm saying. When I think of a university in Africa, I would think the sources, and this is just me speaking. You can tell me if I'm wrong. I would think the sources would be European, as far as all of the clinical studies and science on their computers today. If they go to these colleges, I would think the sources would be from England and all of that stuff like that. Would I be wrong, or you think all that stuff will be African and everything self-made on their computers and stuff like that in their university?
Well, in all honesty, bro, I think it all depends on who the sources for the material they're using is. It could be an African, it could be an African American, it could be European. It just depends on who the sources is for the material that they're using. Because again, knowledge don't have a color. And so if you seen that show that the pseudo killers put on where they had the brother on, this brother is a PhD, and he's put out research papers and material. He's taught classes, etc. So if he teaching a class and he creating the curriculum for a book, and for a class, and he creating the syllabus, can we call that European knowledge, or would we call it African knowledge or African American knowledge? Like, what would we deem it other than just knowledge? Because I wouldn't categorize it as European. So it really just depends on who's putting forth the information and the curriculum in these particular institutions. So, because it's not just like when you deal with Christian history and textual criticism at North Carolina, that curriculum is all created by Bart Ehrman. So is that European curriculum? You see what I'm saying? Because is Bart Ehrman a European? Or is he? So it just, I think we focus a lot on certain terms when we talk about education. But at the end of the day, education is education. And this is all I'm gonna say. I feel like we should focus more on the education and not the people and the individuals where the education is coming from. If it's a credible education that's gonna help Black people from an individual standpoint and a collective standpoint push forward, that should be the focus.
All right, so check me out. We say knowledge don't have a color, but we got knowledge certificates and degrees that was created by colored people. So we got to understand that if we think about something, anything you can think of in science is going to be accredited to a white man. So knowledge do got color. But if we go to Africa, we can find these same concepts created by Africans. So what I'm saying is the same way we can see voodoo, the same way we can see voodoo being outcasted, I think is a missing. It's a and if we think about it, we gotta do discrete research to find African scientists and African technology and all that stuff. We gotta go and find that. What I'm saying is, you don't think that so basically, if our elders, and like I said, we built pyramids, Mali, Ghana, we did all of this without the white man. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about a PhD, you talk about a scientist, like these is fields or biologists, these is fields that was created by them, you know what I'm saying? And we conforming to that. I'm saying our elders and ancestors, they was around before that. So it is basically what I'm asking is, do you feel like even with what we got going on over there, do you feel like it is outdated compared to what the white man is doing?
Oh no, I don't feel like it's outdated because again, knowledge is knowledge. So that's just like this. It's a lot of stuff that I think you could teach me in terms of things that I don't know. Now, do that mean you a PhD? Or I tell people all the time, I got a GED. So I don't think that just because it's not coming from a quote unquote European institution or a quote unquote prestige university or this and that we get to ignore it or we shouldn't acknowledge it in terms of whatever contribution it then made to our society. No, that's not what I'm saying at all, because I think a lot of things, like you pointed out, we created and we contributed and we just don't get credit for. And there's some things that we created and contributed that they just can't figure out how to replicate. So I would never say it's outdated. I just think that it's kind of one of those things. It's almost like the mafia. You know what they say, La Cosa Nostra. It's our thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not necessarily meant to be. It's not necessarily meant for the masses, so to speak.
Most definitely. When we talk about African spirituality and getting initiated, how you feel about stuff like that, getting initiated?
I don't. If that's your path, then I don't see anything wrong with it. For those who don't know, before I went back to the church, I was part of a Kemetic temple, and so you go through an initiation. And the Kemetic temple that I was a part of, the Temple of Heru here in St. Louis, highly African centered, and so they incorporate a lot of African concepts into that process with the renaming ceremony, going to the mounds, the Cahokia Mounds, not far from St. Louis. It's over in Illinois, but it's not far. And so you go to the mound and you walk up the mound and you do this whole thing. So from as we try to practice Sankofa as children of the diaspora and descendants of those who were enslaved, we trying to go back and fetch it. So we try to get as close as we can to what we believe our ancestors was doing. So if you have an initiation process that you can mimic or pay tribute to your ancestors, whether you're doing exactly what they was doing or you getting close to it, or you just doing something in tribute to what you think they was doing, I'm all for it.
Already. I be seeing a lot of people giving Jabari flack, practicing his Kemetic spirituality. I be seeing a lot of people give him flack, I want people to understand that I'd rather a motherfucker celebrate something or worship or practice something that's African, you know what I'm saying, than practice something that's not African. So you could throw Jabari in a boat with the Christians, but you got to understand he practiced something that's African. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a lot of foot pushback. He be getting a bunch of pushback.
I feel like Jabari get a lot of hate because he's Jabari. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Jabari Osaze. I think that because he burst onto the scene, what was that, 2015 or so, and he you know, Sarnetta called him the Floyd Mayweather, and you know, he Cornell educated, so he got an Ivy League education. And he's also a Kemetic priest, but he say he a historian. I think he get a lot of hate because one, Sarnetta push him out there. And then he coming from a Kemetic standpoint. So in recent years, whereas Kemet, you see, I got the gold unk on right now. In recent years, Kemet, in past years, Kemet was the sort of the hallmark of the Black conscious community, right? And everybody wanted to be a part of Kemet in one way or another. Everybody was saying Hotep or Hutepu or whatever greeting they could, Uncle Jocelyn, etc. Right. But then you more recently had a movement to say, hey, that's not our people. We from West Africa. And I tell people all the time, I don't know about other people, but me knowing Jabari and then knowing what he teach, he'll tell you he's Ghanaian. He tell you all the time that he West African.
Not dual citizenship.
Yeah, so I've never heard him say we come from Kemet. He just said that was his chosen spiritual concept. So I have a sister that come on the channel. Her name Minyet. She attend the Temple of Anu, and she got the same situation. And she dedicated when it comes to her being a practitioner. But she never claimed to be that she descend from ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet. That's just her chosen spirituality. And the thing that really get me about it is whether it's a Christian or whether it's an atheist or whatever the case may be, why do you have a problem with somebody following the Kemetic spiritual tradition or whatever they rendition of that is, whether they doing it right and exact or not? Why do you have a problem with them following that when, as a Christian, you're not following something that's African? It's not indigenous to Africa. I don't care how long it's been there. As an atheist, you're not following an ideology that's indigenous to Africa. So what you sweating somebody following? Like it's weird. So I try to, but I stay out of it because, everybody try to, they gang up on Jabari. Even though I ain't seen it, I haven't seen it a lot recently, but I know it was a time where he was like public enemy number one for everybody. Christians.
I got to give you some pushback, Uncle DMG. I got to give you some pushback.
Come on with it. Come on with it.
It was tribes in Africa that didn't believe in no damn higher power.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt that because listen, when somebody say it was tribes in Africa or it was at least one person in Africa that didn't believe, hey, listen. As big as Africa is, as many people as it is, you ain't gonna get no argument from me, Doc. not one. But what I'm talking about is as the title, atheist.
Right.
That title, that ideology, if you will, is not so because that tribe that didn't believe in nothing, they ain't call themselves nothing. I mean, they ain't call it nothing. They wasn't tripping off of nothing. They could care less about having some kind of title attached to it.
Right.
However, in terms of atheism as a concept, it's something that people push forward and get out there and argue and want to scrap and have intellectual dialogues about. That's a European thing. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right. So, is Freemasonry black existentialism?
Freemasonry? I honestly don't know enough about Freemasonry to answer that question, but I mean I could look into it to find out.
Gotcha. All right. On Juju giving us some names.
I seen Juju say something wasn't true, but I didn't know what she was talking about.
Tahuti Afar. I don't know if this the Tahuti with the snake and the spider, but he says Anthony Browder Sankofa symbolism from the Niger to the Nile to your neighborhood is proof that we descend from Kemet. Uncle DMG. Smoke look like Tahuti.
Hey, listen. I'm not sure what you putting forth from Anthony Browder. I'll be happy to check it out. But as far as I know, good brother, I descend from West and Central Africa, not ancient Kemet. And I ain't knocking nobody who practice the ancient Kemetic tradition. I'm salute to you. Like I say, I got an unk on, and if you look at this arm, right here, look, I got my Akhenaten, like my G. I'm Uncle Jocelyn. I'm with Kemet. So don't take that as a knock. I'm just saying I descend, as far as I know, from West and Central Africa. Now, if you can prove otherwise, good brother or sister, please do.
All right, Juju say we don't descend from ancient Egypt. Uncle Larrell say Naga up. God is light. Light is electromagnetism.
Hey, shout out to the electromagnetic messiahs in the building. Hey, wow. Next time you holler at him, ask him who gave him that nickname.
Come on, man. It gotta be you. Electromagnetic messiah. Juju say light is a type of electromagnetism. Uncle Heavy Hitter Debate League say light is the manifestation of electromagnetism. So Heavy Hitter Debate League, that must be my boy Thought. All right, Tahuti said
Heavy Hitter Debate League, that's Haru consciousness.
Okay. Haru. So Haru and Naga too. All right, Tahuti says Kemet was made up of Central West Africans. How you feel about that, Uncle DMG?
Again, he would have to give me some historical and scientific proof of that. I mean, do you have some genetic proof? Do you have some historical proof? Like what you like? I can say anything, but if you got proof, talk black to me, bro.
All right. Look like Juju trying to go for the Nagas heads. Tiger Hunter says, I descended from the Yoruba. Uncle said just entered the chat.
Shout out to the pseudo slayer, Cedric Ortega in the building.
Oh, still, man, we gonna get we gotta get Uncle DMG. You gotta get Cedric a main event.
Yeah, hey, you know Cedric and the good doctor got something coming up, man. We trying to get them a face off this weekend, man. Possibly this Friday or this Saturday. But we got some things we got to work out first. There's been some contentions in the atmosphere, and I feel like we got some we got some devils in the midst trying to bring about some disunity. So I'm gonna get to the bottom of that, and then we're gonna get this debate figured out.
Most definitely. So when we talk about black existentialism, would what Shannon Sharp has done with the 19-year-old Snow Bunny, is that black existentialism?
Hell no.
Uh-oh.
So again, let me bring this up because I'm glad you asked that, because hey, we gotta learn to stay away from them clear women, man.
We gotta what?
We gotta learn to stay away from them clear women, man.
Shit.
Like,
Suki
listen,
D.
like I know it's a lot of cats out there who like the snow bunnies, but let me tell you something, brother. Hey, if you ain't got enough examples yet,
Yeah, Suki D.
if you ain't got enough examples yet of the perils that come with keeping company with clear people, particularly they women. Something wrong with you. Like, I'm just saying, man, like ask well, you can't ask a lot of these brothers what happens when you entertain clear women, because they no longer, I was gonna say ask Emmett Till, but you can't. Like, I don't understand like what cats thinking about. And then you're 52 years old and she's 19. Like, what's wrong with you? Nah, that's not black existentialism. That's the fantasy of dealing with massa in a way we was never meant to. That's my opinion. Now, look, listen, for those who like to, play around in areas you probably shouldn't, hey, have at it. But when you end up possibly missing out on $100 million deals, you'll understand why. But listen, this Franz Fanon had a thing where he said we have an existential deviation, where as a result of the removal of language of culture of origin, the Black individual and the Black collective have had to simultaneously define and redefine identity, culture, and existence. And when cats do what Shannon Sharp and other brothers have done by trying to, domesticate bunnies or hares, for those who know what a hare is, you find yourself in an existential deviation. I'm gonna read it one more time. Franz Fanon referred to it as an existential deviation, where as a result of the removal of language of culture of origin, the Black individual and the Black collective have had to simultaneously define and redefine identity, culture, and existence. Now, when we decide we want to deal with women who are not our mothers, who don't look like our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our grandmothers, when we deviate from that, we dealing with an existential deviation. When we begin to call ourselves Israelites, Moors, the tribe of Shabazz, when we call ourselves Abos, and things of that nature, we are trying to define and redefine our identity, culture, and existence. And what we need to do is make peace with who we are, but we can't make peace with who we are because we constantly in this existential deviation. Leave them clear women alone and get you a sister.
Uncle DMG, wouldn't you feel uncomfortable if a white woman was texting you, "I want a big black baby"? Wouldn't you feel uncomfortable reading that text message?
Man, I have my sister whoop her ass.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, hey, bruh, I don't understand, bro. I don't. I
got to get that together. All right, Dr. Umar Johnson. Is Dr. Umar Johnson a black existentialist?
Dr. Umar Johnson need to build that school. Until he do something with them people who gave him money, Dr. Umar Johnson is a joke to me. He can talk all that good talk he want to. My aunt said she was gonna get a school in April of 2020, and by August of 2020 she had it, and she ain't had to get a dime from nobody. Her whole staff black, all her students black. The people who drive the bus and pick up the kids is black. Ain't nobody finna keep playing with Umar except them sycophants who steady following. Umar Johnson is a joke to me. So nah, yeah, he talk good black existential rhetoric, but he ain't putting existentialism in the practice until he do what he said he was gonna do with them people money.
I agree. We got OG Bobby Banger in the building, Uncle in the building showing his support.
Real spill. Shout out to the God Killer.
Already. So when we talk about what would be your message to the youth as far as not a teenager, a person in their 20s? What would be your message to the youth?
My message to our youth is to stop glorifying the individuals in our culture who are bringing our people down. Stop glorifying the drug dealers. Stop glorifying the criminal. Stop glorifying the killer. Start glorifying the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher, the educator. Follow those examples. Glorify the businessman, the entrepreneur, the people who are building our communities up. And one of the things that I do in my real life is when I go to the block, I talk to these cats about, you can get off this block and I could take you to this car auction and show you how to take that same mentality you had on the block and apply it to buying a used car, flipping it, and reselling it for a profit. And it's the same mentality that it takes for you to be on that corner. Because all you're gonna do is take your bread to that auction, you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna come back to the dealer and you're gonna re-up and you're gonna do it again. And you ain't gotta look over your shoulder for the 5-0. You can go get you a cleaning company. You can start you a courier service. But let's start with this dealer's license so you can get your money up. And you ain't gotta worry about looking over your shoulder or trying to take somebody else out so you can replace them. We gotta stop trying to replace one another. See, we see each other as expendable. You know how many conversations I done had with young cats, Doc, where they'll tell you how expendable a black life is and what they'll do to another black person. And then you ask them that same thing about a clear person, and they be like, nah, it's consequences to that. Because they know society don't value black life the way it's supposed to value life. And so they know it ain't consequences when they kill each other, but it's consequences when they kill these other people. And so we gotta teach each other, teach these young people to value Black lives. And then we gotta show them that the role models that they looking at ain't the role models they need to follow. Stop following these negative role models. It ain't Ghost on power or Kanan on power. It's actually the teachers, the lawyers, the doctors, etc. If we're gonna push our people forward in power, we gotta push education. And it's not necessarily everybody ain't finna go to college. I tell people all the time, I got a GED, but somebody told me about getting my dealer's license. Somebody told me about opening up my own business. My father-in-law got a 6th grade education from Tupelo, Mississippi, worked at Ford Motor Company for 30 years, started a heating and cooling business when he was laid off from Ford early on. And when he retired from Ford, he kept doing that to this day. And he done made a great life for himself. So education come in 1,000 different forms. So we just got to learn to educate our people into a positive direction. And that's what I'm all about, educating our people so they understand they can make money in various different ways. Because as long as you making some bread and you feeding your family and you not poisoning your neighborhood, you good. And that's the best thing that I could tell these young brothers and sisters.
I appreciate that. All right, before we get to the rest of the comments, Classic Craig, what's goody?
Yes, how are you? I'm not Classic Craig. I'm individual. I came here to see the celebrity DMG. And GMD, I am very proud to see him on the big stage, and I have a question for him. Hello, GMD. How are you doing today? How are you doing,
This
sir?
guy. Hey, I'm not a celebrity, by the way.
Of course.
I'm just a humble YouTuber.
Of course. I see. Now, Mr. GMD, you were talking about Black existentialism, yes? And I was wondering, the famous Dr. Amos Wilson, is he a Black existentialist by your definition?
100%.
Okay. Now, one of the things that the famous Dr. Amos Wilson said, he said that Black people need to stop worrying about white people, meaning that we need to act as if they do not exist and focus on our own issues instead of giving them more power. Now, is that a principle in Black existentialism?
You probably missed the part where I said the Black individual and the Black collective has to understand that no matter they spiritual tradition, the God they worship, the political affiliation, their philosophical ideology, etc., the Black individual and the Black collective has to understand that whatever we do as a people to push ourselves forward in power, we have to do it. Ain't no God gonna do it. Ain't no political party gonna do it. Ain't no other people gonna do it. We have to do it for ourselves, period.
Of course, I understand. Now, final question I need to ask. Now, the early Black church, right, after slavery, do you feel that those individuals were practicing Black existentialism before it became modernized in our time?
100%.
Okay. All right. One more question I have to ask you. Now, what do you use in order to get such a magnificent beard?
Hey, listen. I take biotin in addition to a one-a-day vitamin that also has biotin in it. I brush it every day. I condition it with shea butter and jojoba oil. And, listen, for the adults in the room, I make sure I get lost in my queen eyes on a nightly basis, if you dig what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Okay, hey, Wavy Super, I appreciate you having me on. I'm going to tell all the people back in my home country to come and subscribe to your channel. DMD, what could we find you at?
You can find me on Paradigm Shift TV 314, home of the Versus series. You can also find me on DMG TV 314. That's the channel where I kind of get down on the solo tip. For anybody interested, I got a show on that channel coming up called DMG Unfiltered. Looking for a female co-host. We're going to be talking about relationships, parenting, marriage, dating in 2025, mental health, education, sex, etc., etc. So I'm looking for a female co-host. If anybody is interested, inbox me on Facebook, reach out to Wavy so he can get with me. Holla at your boy.
Yes, holla at your boy. Yes, holla at your boy. All right, okay. All right, Super Wavy, I appreciate it.
Hey,
Talk
Classic
later.
Craig, for that
I'm not Classic Craig.
For that beard, you got to get you some. I mean, my bad, Yeshuba. For that beard, you got to get you some black coochie, and your beard gonna be good, my boy.
I do not think
Yeah,
that
hey,
works.
listen. I'm talking about don't nothing make it grow. Like, hey, hey, Classic. I know you hate when I talk about it, but
I'm
listen.
not Classic Craig. I'm not Classic Craig.
Well, whatever your name is, Ubuntu. Don't nothing make it grow like getting lost in your queen eyes, brother, and getting lost in a particular part of her body. You get lost in a particular part of her body. Let me tell you something, bro. Hey, brother, trust me.
The pseudo killers are in the chat, and I do not think they agree with that. I think that is pseudo on both of your parts, and be careful.
Well, listen.
False advice.
Listen.
False medical advice.
On this one now, I'm gonna say on this one, the men in the pseudo killers can't really talk to me because said nor the guy killer have a beard. I ain't saying that they can't grow one. They just don't have one right now. So I would need to hear from Sister Tiffany and Sister Juju on that one. So we'll see who agree and who disagree on whether what I'm saying is pseudo or not.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Brother GMD. Thank you, Brother Wavy. We will talk some more. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take it easy, boss. All right, Uncle DMG, we got another comment. It says, what about Farrakhan? Do you think he's done enough or anything for the black community in the absence of MLK and Malcolm X? Is Farrakhan a black existentialist?
I wouldn't say, I honestly, and this is me speaking honestly, I don't know enough about Farrakhan with regards to his stance. It would be difficult for me to come up with an assessment on whether he a black existentialist. However, I will say that his predecessor, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was indeed a black existentialist. When you look at the black-owned businesses that he set up, taking black people off the street who were doing things that were not only harmful to themselves, but harmful to other black people and cleaning them up, having them legitimately change their lives, stores, etc. I would say he was indeed a black existentialist. Whatever you think of his chosen religion or whatever it was that he followed from a spiritual standpoint, from a black existentialist standpoint, and from a black people standpoint, I don't think his benefit to the community at the time that he was living can be denied.
Already. Aunt Juju says, I'll pass on that conversation, on that beard conversation. She says she gonna pass.
I bet. I bet.
Oh,
it's all good, sis. It's all good. I ain't mean to put you on the spot. Shout
out to my boy Craig, man, for coming through, man. I'm surprised he ain't changed his jersey, man. He usually would have had 5 jerseys on at that point in time.
Yeah, I wonder why he wanted to come in as like whatever that was. I don't know what accent that was, but hey, that's why people think you one of our judges, brother. That was a hell of a voice impression you did. That's why the conspiracy theories is out there for Marble Mouth Molly, man, right there.
Goddamn. All right, so Michael Jordan, is Michael Jordan a black existentialist? A black existentialist?
If you wanted to, like, I can definitely make a case for it. I don't think he would consider himself a black existentialist, but I could definitely take his life, his career, his business, etc., and put it in a black existentialist framework.
Got you. Okay, so the Sinners movie. Back to the Sinners movie. This whole baptism, um, is in that scene in the movie, you was explaining you basically said they was trying to get the demon out of him, wash the demon out.
Well, nah. So what it is it's actually a vampire dunking a brother over and over while reciting biblical verses to him. And he basically explaining to him that he went through a similar process that he's about to take this brother through. And from my standpoint, like I explained in the presentation, it is kind of emblematic of how you had people who promised our ancestors a certain this salvation that they themselves claimed to possess but didn't demonstrate. And so here you had this vampire claiming that he gonna set this brother free, but he gotta kill him to do it. And it's like, you could draw the analogy that these same people who said they was offering our ancestors salvation, but they wanted to kill the African in them. You feel me? And that's kind of the analogy that I took from it. So just like he had to kill his brother and make him a vampire in order to give him this quote unquote salvation, the same people who made that claim to our ancestors wanted to kill the African in them, the African spirit, the African spirituality, the African identity, etc.
Gotcha. Man, hey man, everybody out there, go check out the movie Sinners. You know what I'm saying? It's deep. Now I gotta go check it out. Uncle DMG said he's seen it 3 times. I'm definitely about to scroll through my Chinese websites and see if they got it. You know what I'm saying? Watch it with the Queen. You know my buff stream. Somebody gonna have that movie. And if you got the link to it, put the link in the damn chat. You know what I'm saying? We save money. That's a black people thing. Our pops used to say, if it ain't free, it ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely all about the discounts and the freebies around here. So yeah, if you got the link to that, man, drop that in the chat because we need it. And
no doubt.
Uncle DMG, what you got planned? What you got coming up?
Well, we got to get this situation with Doc and Sid squared away. We got some I got some rectifying I got to work on behind the scenes before we get that thing hammered down. But we're gonna get that knocked out. On the 24th of May, we got a championship match between LP and Pan. So y'all gonna see the face-off between them coming up soon where we're gonna hammer down their topic. But on the 24th, you will see a world title defense between Pan and LP. That matchup between Sid and Dr. Too Sweet will be for the real Lions Den title and the social media title. It's a title for title match. Somebody gonna be walking around calling themselves either Sid gonna be saying Pseudo Slayer 2 belts or it's gonna be Too Sweet 2 belts. But either way, one of them gonna be walking away with 2 belts. But we got that coming up. We got our boy, the Bible Breaker A1, taking on the newest debater in the Versus series, a sister by the name of Quinn. So we got some good things coming up, man. We just trying to keep that content rolling. I'm relaunching my channel, DMG TV 314. Like I said, I got a show over there I'm starting called DMG Unfiltered. looking for a female co-host. I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different topics. I also have a show I'm doing called Black Woman Unfiltered. I believe the good doctor is gonna lead that up as the host, but in case she get a little too busy, still inquiring about some female hosts. So we gonna get that channel popping as well. Have y'all subscribe to that. So y'all look forward to that. And Juju, listen, regardless of what you think of him as a person, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Go back and look at my debate, which I don't do often, but go look at my debate with James Cassell. I proved unequivocally Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Shout out to my nephew, Super Wavy, for having me on. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. I got to get him over to my channel because we got to talk about the virtues of a particular lifestyle as it relates to men having more than one woman. And so we definitely going to get that on the books. So shout out to the brother. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate y'all.
Already. Hey, everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to Paradigm Shift. Man, we're going to be pumping these debates back and forth. Man, we're going to have debates over here, after parties over here, review debates. Man, you're going to see our debaters over there, they debaters over here. Man, let's go. It's just a back and forth conglomerate, you know what I'm saying? And we're doing it for the community, no ego, all brothers trying to build, you know what I'm saying? If you're not trying to build, don't even come our way, you know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to make no enemies in this motherfucker. We ain't got time to be making no videos about no people. We ain't making no memes about nobody. We ain't bringing up no family members. We men, we don't got time for none of that shit. We gonna keep this shit up information, entertain, and we gonna learn every day in this motherfucker.
That's facts. That's facts. Like we see, like real men take real life seriously. Like you get to posting people wives and stuff like that. You the type of people I can't be around because I take that type of stuff seriously. Like you post my wife, I might come looking for you. So just understand, like real people do real shit. We not with the silliness. We not with the games. We trying to build, not destroy. I want to help Super Wavy build up his platform any way I can, and he helping me do the same thing. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. And if you on that negative tip, then you go do that over there. We gonna keep trying to build over here.
Already, man. And just like that, we out of here. Peace, Uncle DMG. Great show.
Peace. Appreciate you, bro.